to build a fire. Don't say wood. That's not one of them.
House rules tonight.
Okay, fuel. We'll go with fuel. How's that? All right.
Fire starter.
Heat. We'll say heat and oxygen. Okay, those are the three things we're going to talk about this weekend, but we're going to take a little bit of a different stance on them. We're going to talk about faith, hope, and love. And tonight we're going to talk about faith. But first I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I know Brett. You guys know that by now, right? Okay, so Brett and I did go to school together. Brett is a really good guy. Those of you that know Brett, is he also kind of maybe a little bit of a weird guy?
Yes.
Yeah, wow, that was really quick.
Amen.
They said that really quick. You were in Tri-Zeta, right?
I was in Tri-Zeta.
Yeah, so Brett is a little bit of a weird guy. No, I'm kind of kidding.
True.
I'm about to tell you something that may make some of you hate me, and that's fine. I know where I am. I'm well aware of what state I'm in and what part of the state I'm in. I have two children named Reddick and Shire. That's right, yeah. They are named after Duke basketball players. Hey, look, now listen. It could have been a lot worse. When we were getting ready to name our youngest, we actually tossed around the name Leitner. I know that's like a cuss word up here. I know. I'm glad we didn't do that. But I have a good friend who graduated from UK law school, and I told him where I was going. He's like, "Dude, you better be careful." I was like, "Oh, that's fine. I hope." So some of you are like, "I'm not listening to anything else this guy says. He's crazy." You're probably right, but I hope you'll listen anyway. I'm really excited to be here this weekend. It did take me a long time to get here, but listen, it was a great drive. Where I live in Summerdale, Alabama, we don't really have fall, which really stinks because I love fall. You guys like fall? Fall is amazing. Look, I'm wearing a flannel shirt and boots. I don't get to wear that a lot where I live, okay? I love flannel shirt, boots, and a coat. Oh, it's like the best. We get a fire going. We have burn bans a lot in the summer where I live because it just gets too hot. It kind of stinks. The leaves don't really turn colors down there. They just kind of like sometime in December, the leaves are like, oh, all right, I give up. And the leaves just kind of fall down, and they're brown as soon as they hit the ground. It's really ugly. And palm trees, they don't really change colors. So we've got those, and they're green all the time. But as I was driving up here, I started seeing all the trees changing colors. Like, oh, this is fantastic. This is awesome. And it really was. It was amazing to see, reds and oranges and all the trees. It was beautiful. I loved it. So tonight, we are talking about faith. You have anybody in here? Well, I know you guys are all basketball fans. At least I know most of you are, because again, I know where I am. Okay. If I were to ask you to name the greatest basketball player of all time, who would you say? Okay, you are wrong. Everyone else said Michael Jordan. You are right. Now look, I know that's kind of weird because he played for North Carolina, and I'm a Duke fan. But you can't say, look, if you got to watch Michael Jordan play in his prime, he was amazing. You can look up highlights on YouTube. He was absolutely incredible. I was born in 1983, so about the time that I really started watching basketball on TV. We did not have cable growing up. We got cable for like a month once in Memphis on accident, and my mom called repeatedly to tell them to cancel it. I was like, "Mom, can we not do that, please?" But they finally canceled it. But before that, it had to come on NBC, ABC, or CBS, or PBS if I was going to watch it. Thankfully, though, they still, I don't know these, I'm such a terrible parent. We don't have cable at my house anymore. We just got Netflix and Hulu. Yeah. I am. But I remember back then they had NBA on NBC, right? So, you would be able to watch NBA games. And about the time I was 8 or 9, I started really paying attention to basketball. I love basketball. And we were watching, I would sit with my dad, and we watched some different teams play. And I remember watching Charles Barkley play. I remember watching the Lakers play. I remember watching, a lot of those guys play that some of you really don't care about and don't know about, and that's fine. But I remember starting to watch the Chicago Bulls. I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. This guy's awesome. And then I would hear my friends talk about Michael Jordan. I'm like, hey, I know that guy. I saw him on TV. And they look at me like, yeah, where have you been? What's wrong with you? And so I really started to like watching the Chicago Bulls. What would really stink, though, was we would go to summer camp. We'd go to church camp at Green Valley Bible Camp during the NBA Finals every year. But, after they won a couple and we were at camp during the Finals, I quit worrying about it. It's like, you know what? They're going to win because they've got Michael Jordan. And you know what? Whenever he played in the Finals, guess what? They did win. And I know this is going to sound kind of weird, and I didn't really realize it then, but I had faith that the Bulls were going to win because I knew what Michael Jordan could do. I knew especially what Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen could do. Like, I knew that they were amazing and they were phenomenal basketball players, and I knew that Michael Jordan was not going to let them lose. And so they would give us updates when we were at camp, like, yeah, that's fine, the Suns won a game, whatever, the Bulls are going to win. And they did. They whenever Jordan was playing with them, they were in the finals, they won. I knew what Michael Jordan could do. I had seen what he could do. And so I had faith that whenever they played, they were going to win. See, I think sometimes we have this misguided notion of faith because we use words like leap of faith. You have to take a leap of faith. You any Indiana Jones fans in here? Okay, you know what movie I'm about to talk about?
No.
Oh,
Yes.
you said you were fans. Come on. Okay, yeah, which one? You were jumping up and down. Which movie?
Okay.
Okay. It's The Last Crusade, right? It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and they're looking for the Holy Grail, and they're going through all these clues, and they come to this wide chasm, and they're supposed to take this, this leap of faith, this step of faith, and they can't see anything. They don't know if anything's there. They know it's crazy. He finally steps out, and there it is. There's a bridge there. You just couldn't see it till you took that leap of faith. Well, that's kind of weird because that's really not how faith works. We think that's how it works because we hear things like leap of faith. You have to jump out on faith. You have to go on faith, and we think that means there's no evidence to back it up. Guys, that's not how faith in God works. It's completely different. See, for me, I knew that the Bulls were going to win because I had seen what they were capable of. I knew that Michael Jordan was so competitive, he was not going to let them lose in a situation like that. Our faith in God is a lot like that, okay? You guys good there?
There's a snake.
Oh, there is a snake. All right. Yeah.
Snake?
Okay, so anyway.
Have a snake of NATO.
Yeah.
Hold on. Take care.
Hey, folks. See, some of you over there did not have faith. He picked up that snake like he's going to throw it right at me. And I know that some of you that just screamed over there, I know that some of you are girls, and some of you screamed like girls. So anyway, what were we talking about? Yeah, faith. So look, I'm going to tell you that for me, the concept of faith has always been a little bit of a struggle, or at least it was until a few years ago, because I think I looked at it kind of the way the world looks at it, that it's something that is not based on any sort of past experience, that it's something that's not based on any sort of evidence. It's just this gut instinct that you have that's not based on anything rational. Guys, it's not really what faith is, and I think part of the reason we have a problem with it is because we are reading one of the main verses about faith wrong. Okay, so if you've got your Bibles, or I know most of you probably have a phone with a Bible app on it, and that's fine. You'll probably be able to see yours a little bit better than I am. But we're going to go to Hebrews chapter 11. Okay, Hebrews chapter 11. Okay, we're going to read Hebrews chapter 11. We're going to read verse 1 and 2, okay? Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Now we're going to read we're going to read verses 2 and 3 in just a second, but I want us to think about that first verse there. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. I think sometimes we take that verse to mean that faith means we believe in things that we can never see, things that we have not seen, and things that there is no evidence for. Guys, that is not what this verse says. Do you understand? That is not what this verse says. It says, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. See, we are convicted about things that we cannot see because of things that we have already seen. We believe in things that we may not be able to see with our eyes because of things that we have already borne witness to, because of things that people that had a hand in writing the Bible have already borne witness to. We believe those things, so we believe all the other things that God has promised. Now, about a year ago, Brett got in touch with me about this youth rally. Brett is a good guy. Brett is a good friend of mine. Brett is a trustworthy guy. And so when he said, hey, we're having this youth rally, are you interested in coming to speak? Well, yeah, I'm definitely interested. I did not for one second think Brett's just, he's pulling a prank on me. He's getting me to drive all the way up here and be like, what youth rally? We don't have a youth rally. There's nothing here. Go back home. I didn't think for one second that was going to happen to me. Now, some of you, I don't know. In fact, almost all of you, I don't know. If I were to walk up to you and say, hey, listen, 1 year from today, check your bank account. I'm going to drop $1 million in there. Just for you. Just because. Now, some of you are like, oh, that'd be awesome. But do you really believe it's going to happen? You might kind of hope it's going to happen. But for the most part, you'll be like, I don't know this guy. He's a youth minister. He does not have $1 million. So I know better. There's not going to be $1 million there. You don't know me. There is nothing for you to base my claim on. You have nothing to really trust me about. There's no faith there. The only thing you know is that it said, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million. Well, you know, anybody can say that. Anybody can say they're going to give you that. But unless someone has actually shown you before that they mean what they say, and that everything that they say to you, they actually end up doing. You know, maybe if you and I have a relationship. You know, let's say that I've told you several times I'm going to do something for you. Let's say, hey, I'm going to go mow your yard for you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And I show up at 3 o'clock and I mow your yard. Hey, I know your oil needs changed. I'm going to come change your oil next Wednesday at 8 a.m. And I show up at 8 a.m. next Wednesday and I change your oil. Well, then maybe if I say, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million, maybe you'll believe me. Okay, if I show you that I have a track record of being honest and I follow through with the things that I say I'm going to do, then you're going to have faith that what I'm telling you is actually going to happen. Like I told you earlier, faith has been, it was kind of a struggle for me even after I became a Christian. As far as our discussion with Ignite goes, faith for us is this heat element of building a fire. Okay, you can have the fuel and you can have the oxygen, but without that heat, without something to actually start the fire, then you're not going to have a fire, right? For most of you, your faith started with your parents. Your parents brought you to Bible class. Your parents brought you to church. For some of you, maybe that's still where it is. For some of you, you still go because your parents make you go. I hope that this weekend maybe you'll start to move beyond that. But let's take it back to this fire analogy for a moment. See, as we're growing up, we're kind of like, we're not the fire itself. We're these other branches that are thrown into the fire. Yes, we take the heat that they give, and sometimes we walk around with it. But in order to keep that fire going, we've got to be put back in the fire. That fire to continue to go. Okay, our faith is really not our own yet. The fire that we carry, that flame that we carry, it's not our own yet. It belongs to someone else. So in order to keep it going, we've got to be thrust back into that fire. Your faith is like that. When you're younger, yeah, you say you believe in God, but it's mostly because the people that you're close to believe in God. The people that you trust tell you, hey, there is a God, believe in Him. You say, okay, I will. I believe it. And as you get older, maybe you start to see some things and you start to believe on your own and your faith becomes your own. For some people, it's like this light bulb moment and everything clicks all at once, like, oh, I get it now. And then their faith becomes their own. For some people, it's a process. I think for me, it was a process. I became a Christian when I was 10 years old, so, pretty young. But I remember the weeks leading up to that, it was not easy for me. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that I needed to do it. And we were actually at church camp, and they offered an invitation every night, and I would actually step out from my seat. I was about to go up there towards the front so that, I could sit down and they would talk to me and they would say, yes, I want to be baptized, and I would be baptized in the camp pool. I started doing that on Monday night of camp, and I did it every night, and I never actually went up there. I stepped out from my seat, I sat on the aisle, and never went anywhere. Because my faith really wasn't quite my own yet. I knew what I wanted to do, I knew I needed to do it, but I wasn't quite sure why. A year later, I started talking to my dad really seriously about it. And I would say, Dad, I'm ready. I need to become a Christian. It's time for me to become a Christian. He'd say, okay, son, we'll tell you what. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a week. And he did that for a few weeks. And then finally, one Sunday afternoon, I said, Dad, I'm going to become a Christian tonight. He said, well, tell you what, we'll talk about it next week. I said, no, Dad, I'm not asking. I'm telling you, I'm going to become a Christian tonight. He said, okay. And my dad's not one to play mind games, like, ever. My dad's a very serious person, like, almost all the time. Except for when he's around his grandkids, he's a very serious person. That's the only time he's ever really done something like that to me. I think it's because he was just waiting for me to make that decision to say, okay, this is mine now. I'm going to own this. This is my faith. I'm not going to be just a branch that's thrust into the fire anymore. I'm going to make my own fire. Maybe that hasn't happened for you yet. Even after it happened for me, there were still times where I needed to be around someone else's fire to keep mine going. And that's going to happen to me for the rest of my life, and it's going to happen to you too. And all these older people will tell you that they need to have their fire renewed often. It's important to be around other people to have your faith rebuilt. For some of you, though, you're still, the heat that you carry around with you, the flame that you carry around with you, it's not yours yet. It's all your family's. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. But I hope that you're starting to look around and see some things that maybe make you think, okay, what they're saying is making sense. There is a God. You know, there is something else going on here besides what the world wants me to think. And I can see the evidence of it. I can see His beauty all around me. I can see the people around me that He has created. I can see the good things that He has done for me in my life. I can see the family that He has surrounded me with, the good friends He has surrounded me with. I know that there's something else going on here. Maybe some things are starting to click for you, and that faith is really starting to build. I'm going to talk about a couple other things real quick. I think for a while, when I was younger, I misunderstood the Israelites as they were leaving Egypt. Do you know what the Israelite people did after they crossed the Red Sea? After they crossed, the parted Red Sea on dry ground on the ocean floor, and they got to the other side, you know what they did? They celebrated. They celebrated, and I was like, you know what, why are they just now celebrating? Look at all the things God's already done for them. He's brought them through these plagues. He's been leading them through the wilderness by fire and by smoke. He's been taking care of them this whole time, and they're just now celebrating. But I didn't really stop to think about what it took for them to actually cross the ocean floor with a wall of water on either side. Can you think about how crazy that was for just a second? The average depth of the Red Sea is about 1,600 feet. It gets a lot deeper than that in some places, but the average depth is about 1,600 feet. That is a little bit deeper than the Empire State Building or the Sears Tower or whatever it's called, the Willis Tower in Chicago. It's a little bit deeper than those things are tall. So you can imagine what it would be like to walk through on the ocean floor with a wall of water as tall as a skyscraper on either side of you. But they took that step and they walked out with the water on either side of them. That's so crazy to me. And see, I always thought, why are they just now celebrating? But I never thought about how much faith it took for them to take that first step, to walk out with the water on either side. Of course they celebrated when they got to the other side. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you celebrate if you got through something like that? Of course they celebrated, but it took a lot of faith for them to do that one thing. And even in Hebrews 11 it says that what they did was faithful. We give Thomas a hard time as well, right? You remember what Thomas wanted to do when the other apostles had told him that Jesus had risen? Remember what he wanted to do? He said he would not believe until what? Not just saw him, but till he what? Felt. And so he saw, touched, and felt. He wanted to touch the holes in his hands. Okay, he wanted to touch the places where Jesus had been wounded before he would believe. Did Thomas get that chance? Yes. Do you remember what Jesus said to him after Simon said he believed? He said, "Blessed are those who have not seen and have yet believed." I think about all the things that I've seen God do in my life. And I think about all the things that I've seen God do in the lives of people that I love and care about. All the things that I've seen Him do. And I would say almost all the time, I'm no better than Thomas. Because all I can think about is, well, God, I feel like this is something you want me to do, but I need to see something first. I need to see something from you to know that this is something that I've got to do. Man, what has He already shown me? He has shown me so many things over and over and over again. He has given me so many things in my life. Reasons that I should be faithful, and still my faith falls short. Over and over and over again. What about Paul? Remember what it took for Paul to really believe in God, to believe in Jesus? He had to do what? He had to see, right? Well, blinded by him. But he knew what he was blinded by, right? Something had to happen for him to change his path from being someone who's persecuting Christians to someone who's promoting the cause of Christ. Something had to change for him. Something had to happen for his faith to change. Faith is not this magical thing that just happens overnight. It's not this gut feeling that you have when there's nothing else to base it on. Faith is something that is based on evidence. I don't want you to think that because faith has not been this light bulb moment for you, or because faith is nothing that you can instinctively believe all the time, that you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. I think just sometimes our understanding of faith is flawed. Faith is the conviction of things not seen, but it's a conviction because we have faith in the God that promises things that are not seen. We know what God has done. We know what He is capable of. We know what He has promised. And because we have seen Him promise things and deliver before, we believe that what He has promised us now, He will deliver on in the future. I believe that. I hope that you believe that too. I want you to think about the people in your life that you have faith in. I want you to think about your family, your friends. I'll say that for most of you, if you were going to be really honest, you would say that the people that you're closest to, that you have the most faith in, will be your parents, or maybe your grandparents. People that you know are going to be there for you, people that you know are going to care for you, even when nobody else would. But we have faith in them because we have seen them come through for us in the past. We have faith in them because we have seen what they are capable of. Have you seen what God is capable of? I'm going to do you guys like I do my youth group. This is yes. This is no. Have you seen what God is capable of? Yes. God is capable of incredible, amazing, beautiful, wonderful things. So why do we doubt Him? Why do we think for 1 second that He's not going to fulfill the promises that He's made to us when He's fulfilled promises in the past? Yes, faith is the conviction of things not seen, but it's a conviction based on God's track record. Look, I don't know what your faith is like tonight, but I hope that by the time you leave this weekend, that it's a little bit stronger. I hope that you can rely on the people around you who maybe have a little bit stronger faith to help build yours up. If you already have a strong faith, I hope that you are doing your best to help other people to find theirs. Because I want you to think about what it was like when you were younger and you relied on other people's faith, just like the heat that's coming from this fire, just like the other sticks that were thrown into this fire after the fire was already started. They got their heat from that fire. They got their flame from a fire that was already there. You got your faith from someone who cared enough to show you what faith really was. So what are you doing with that? Now that you have your own, what are you doing with it? Are you trying to help other people like theirs? Are you trying to help other people show what faith really is and how beautiful and wonderful it can be? If not, then why have one? What's the point? Faith is not this mystical, magical thing that we absolutely cannot understand. We absolutely can understand it. Okay? Do you guys understand that? We understand it because we believe in a God who comes through. We believe in a God who fulfills His promises. Would you agree with that? Do we believe in a God that fulfills His promises? Yes, absolutely we do. And so we can have faith that what He says He will do, He will do. Let's pray together. Father, we're so thankful for this evening. We're thankful for the time that we have together as brothers and sisters. We're thankful for this time that we have to spend outside in your creation. God, you are so amazing. You are wonderful. We're thankful for the love that you have for us. We're thankful for your grace, for your mercy, for your forgiveness. God, we're thankful for your power and the many ways that you show it to us. God, we make mistakes. We mess up. We fall short. God, we know what you're capable of. God, we believe. We believe. Help our unbelief. We love you so much, and we love Jesus, and we pray. Amen.